Welcome to the Accounting Technology Lab, sponsored by CPA Practice Advisor, with your hosts, Randy Johnston and Brian Tankersley.
Welcome to the Accounting Technology Lab. Zoho has built a very interesting finance and operations package. It starts with the accounting product of books, but then it builds out even to more modules. And depending on how you put it together, they've got the building blocks to do things that most small and mid-sized businesses need. So, Brian, I know you have recently returned from Zoho Analyst Days. We've been around Zoho for most of their, I believe, 29 years that they've been in business at this point. So, quite familiar with this 55 plus modules that they have. What would you like our listeners to know about Zoho's finance group?
Well, let's first delineate this podcast and then the next one that we're going to do after this. Okay. So this podcast is to talk about how your clients can use Zoho and how it can be used internally inside client businesses. Okay. It's not as much tasked with the providing of bookkeeping services for multiple fee-paying clients and tax services and those kinds of things. That's the next podcast. Okay. And Zoho can help very well with both sets of problems. But I wanted you to just kind of see this because their suite includes things like a practice management tool that is really an ERP for accounting and a PDF editor and, an accounting software called Books and a free for everybody, free for everybody tool called Zoho Invoice that you can use to do invoicing the way people used to in FreshBooks when it was first starting out years ago.
Which we have recorded in a prior podcast, and you can certainly learn about that. And we have continued to recommend that as a marvelous value, even if it wasn't free, it'd be worth paying for. But at free, can't be beat.
Yeah, and I mentioned that to you here because a lot of you have people that are massage therapists and and lawn contractors and personal service folks, and they need a way to do invoices and to accept payments. And again, that's an exciting opportunity there. But I got too much to talk about in here, and I'm getting too excited, so I need to move on here. But Zoho has a marketplace and they integrate with a wide range of different tools across multiple platforms. Now, Zoho has solutions for just about every business need you would have, but they also have a tool called Zoho Flow that allows them to have direct integrations into most of your major applications that you would need to use, which, by the way, includes at this point QuickBooks Online and, again, just a wide range of other tools that will tie into their analytics tools and everything else that they have. But we've really got the need to have these digital first businesses, but for that to happen, we've got to be able to also do the right kinds of compliance. And so since Zoho is an enterprise application, it has enterprise class compliance capabilities. And I'm just kind of showing these to you here because I want you to see that even if your small business or mid-sized business or anything is an enterprise in a highly regulated field like banking and finance or healthcare or some kind of manufacturing, they've got the compliance tools you need baked into their systems on a very integrated basis. And so I think you need to look at those in here. They again compare themselves again to Zoho, Microsoft, and Google. Again, they're not in the business of selling ads to anybody, and they do a lot of help with people. They are located all over the world with data centers on all continents, including a data center in Canada for our Canadian listeners that need to have Zoho books hosted in Canada, so CRA's happy. But I just kind of show to you here because their footprint is actually very, very impressive. But all of their platforms do use the same underlying architecture. And here's what it looks like. The first thing you've got is a unified data platform and then an orchestration layer that talks to all of their tools. We then have some domain-specific application platforms that run a wide range of workloads, a developer experience things. Notice that they have a pro code and a low code tool here, okay? The low code means that you don't have to be a programmer to interact with this, but if you are a programmer, they have tools to help you, tools and libraries to help you take advantage of it in a wide range of different ways. They also have a BI platform, an identity orchestration platform, and then we layer on top of that their 55 applications plus their plus all of their other items that fit into here. So Randy, you had a comment you wanted to share?
I was just mulling over, Brian, the different tools that you've seen and talked about another technology accounting labs with me, Zia being one of those, the agent. And to just think that it's down at the AI layer, not even really one of the 55 apps. And, if you think about the business intelligence platform, the Zoho Analytics, which is quite gorgeous, I think the way that their Zoho is trying to position their platform, they probably aren't giving themselves enough credit for all of the myriad of apps that they have and solutions they can provide. And if you are new to Zoho, you will find that it'll take you a little bit to get your head around this because there's just so much to it. But it is not horribly expensive and it is typically very capable. So the rule of thumb will be, an old rule that you've heard, Brian, from a former partner of mine. The basic law of business prohibits paying a little and getting a lot. Zoho may have the opposite side of that. Here you can pay a little and get a lot.
Agreed, agreed. The thing about it here is that the hardest part that I find about it sometimes is that it's like a novice cook going to the gourmet grocery store. Okay, because you go there and you say, okay, you need some salt and you need some pepper. And then there are 30 different kinds of salt and 30 different kinds of pepper. And you have to figure out which one you want. And all you want is the McCormick standard grind pepper and the Morton salt that came from Hutchinson, Kansas. So it's again, the thing we have to watch for in here is we have to stay focused as we're approaching these problems because it does provide a wide range of capabilities and it gives you the ability to get exactly what you want. But if you don't know what you want and you don't have a vision for what that is, it's going to be, your results are going to be hit or miss. Okay.
But by the same token, it is enterprise capable. So you're coming in with super good privacy and super good enterprise-like cap securities and other pieces. And that is so much easier to start with than to try to cure later.
Yeah, I guess the way I'd say it here is that there will be very few forced errors that come from their platform, and most of the forced errors are going to come from your side where you don't know exactly what you want. Okay.
Yep.
So again, but that can happen in any platform. But I just kind of want to go through here with this. Now, as we look at this for the technology, you have some domain specific apps and point products that will build tailored solutions. You also have some very simple low code, no code tools, as we've shown you in previous episodes. The idea here is that you can change things and you can create tools on the fly and modify them as you need to solve all kinds of problems in here. Now, their finance and operations stack has a bunch of pre-built applications that you can use, and they've got this idea of the systems of records where we're tracking, creating transactions, and the system of actions where we're creating automation, systems of engagements where we're working with others, and the system of intelligence that reports on top of all that. So as we look at the system of records, they've really got a single source of truth and a set of set of tools between books, their accounting platform, and inventory and Zoho Expense and many of the other tools in here. They've got a setup to handle all of those things. The data is standardized and managed and can be cleaned and integrated with the CRM tool, whether it's an internal CRM tool like that you've picked out like Salesforce, or whether it's you to use Zoho's CRM tool, which is very capable. You can do this. They have security, compliance, and governance surrounding all of this data. And to my mind, they are one of the most fastidious of companies in our accounting space on handling privacy. The next thing we look at are the system of actions. And so this is where, again, we're doing workflow automation. You have three different tools, Creator or Kessly and one more, Q control, Q and TRL, that are workflow management tools that you can use inside their application. And that's before we talk about the tools like Zoho Desk that lets you track tickets, or again, the wide range of other very capable solutions that they have. And they all integrate into the finance suite. So you can actually set it up where the operations activities generate things without any action required on your part. So you really turn more into a plumber. And the idea is that we take all the cycles of all the business cycles of the different processes that we have, like order to cash and procure to pay and hire to retire and all kinds of other things like that. And they all can just integrate with each other. Now, the other thing to know is that you don't have to use Zoho's entire suite to get things done with them. So I want you to see that they have an orchestration layer that will work with. You can work with Zoho, or you can work with SAP, R4, or you can work with R4 HANA, you can work with Oracle and here. And again, you can use their tools, or you can plug in Zoho's 50-state payroll or T&E system or other things like that into here to get things done. The next thing we have then is the system of engagements. And this is where, again, we're collaborating with our outside clients. And so notice that we've got comments and actions where we can assign things to people. We can we can send things out. Notice people can initiate chats to discuss things. You can see that we have ways to interact with vendors, customers, investors, outside accountants, and again, all kinds of folks in here. As an example, they actually are set up to show to do things with supply and dealership types. And so here's an example that they have from India, where they have they work with a paint manufacturer, a paint that has stores all over the country, all over the world, actually. And so you can see that they have workflows set up in here for the interaction and to automate the interaction between the paint company and the local affiliate, and the accounting software and the sales orders and the CRM and the payments even. And all of this is handled in here seamlessly using Zoho. The next thing we have then is a system of intelligence, which includes a self-service BI tool. And you can see I've got an animated GIF here that actually lets you do inquiries here. This is what I was talking about when I was talking about the natural language queries that can be done inside of applications. We talked about this with Acumatica, and I've talked about it now with Zoho. But the idea here is that you can create very compelling graphics and interactions in here very simply by just putting those things in just asking the question the way you would ask the question in a meeting of somebody that created it. There's a financial assistant where, again, it's asking you here of, when you're looking at this item in here, who owes me the most money, and would you like me to send a reminder to them? Okay, so notice auto nag built in here. We've talked about auto nag, again, where it reminds our clients when they're bringing information to us. But this is, again, nagging people, saying, hey, pay or die. Come on, let's go. They also have some AI-driven risk clustering, and this is something they didn't drill into particularly deeply. But the idea in here is that it identifies fingerprints and again other things that might cause something to be an anomaly, and it puts all those together and then identifies the anomalous transactions for you in here. Now, we also have AI data-driven extraction, and the best example of this, of course, is the auto scan that you can do inside of their expense tool, where again you just take pictures of receipts and it will do the auto scan. Notice it has cropped and zoomed in on things from the picture, made it into where it's just a black and white image as opposed to this big, huge color photo. And then it's going to extract all that information and show that it was $11.75, and it'll pull the date, time, and the company off of there. This is the forecasting tool set that, again, uses some of the AI to forecast the monthly recurring revenue and other things like that in here. Now, within the finance suite, you can see that we've got a wide range of different capabilities in here. Zoho has all of these available to again, to help out, or you can work with other tools. But you can see, here's a sample workflow process that we might have, or again, how the data actually flows. And you can see that it's messy and it can actually handle this. And we can again go through and automate many of those processes and many of those flows so that human beings don't have to enter data 3, 4, 5 times into different systems or otherwise do analysis to pull things out. It also facilitates development of vertical focused applications like the Zoho Practice app we'll talk about in the next section on ERP for accountants. But here's an ERP for paint dealerships that was again created in here to go through and help folks manage this. Now, the last thing I would say here is that they built engines to handle the localization and again the tax schemes and regulatory regimes that we have in a lot of the world. And so here we've shown you here some of the regimes that they've built worldwide to solve again common regulatory regimes that are needed for your business. So that's what I learned at Zoho Day that I think could help your clients, and again could kind of show you how it could help them to have a more digitally reinvigorated business. Randy, what's your reaction to that, and where do you think we go with this?
Well, the module coverage in finance, the reporting capabilities, the improvements that Zoho is making across the finance suite over the last 5 years, let's just go back that far, are pretty amazing. We understand that they run their own business on Zoho, and last I knew, they had about 19,000 employees. So, it's not a small scale business. You're absolutely right, Brian. They are themselves operating multi-jurisdiction around the world with plenty of presence in lots of places. So this is, where you and I, when we talk about Zoho, tend to focus maybe on the smaller side of it. This really feels and sounds more like the ERP side of it, just like you had alluded to the interfaces to SAP and Oracle. And I do know some very large scale businesses that have said, look, we're going to run our transactional system on SAP that's dictated by corporate, but a lot of these interface systems, we're going to put Zoho in place and include them. And in fact, I had a discussion yet this week with somebody who said, I really despise using Salesforce CRM, but it's kind of our corporate standard. He said, I'd sure rather use something simpler like Zoho CRM. And I said, well, you'd say that because while you're talking to me, I'm taking my notes in Zoho CRM. And you could just see his face on the other end, kind of, I'll say crack up, but he was adamant about he'd like a simpler system to use. So simpler without compromising features might be a way to think about this.
Super. And the the thing that I would just generally say to you here is that if you haven't looked at Zoho, I think you're missing out. I think you've got a lot of capabilities there, and it's a lot of integration that doesn't require programming to set up that you can get to save yourself and your clients a lot of time and to make your information a lot more accurate.
Yeah, so to learn more about the benefits for your firm, see us in another accounting technology lab, but do think about the benefits of Zoho for your clients. We've been pleased to have you with us in today's accounting technology lab, and we'll be with you again soon. Good day.
Good day.
Thank you for sharing your time with us. We'll be back next Saturday with a new episode of the Technology Lab from CPA Practice Advisor. Have a great week.